kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And on page 8 is the Heart Sutra. Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. This morning, we are very grateful for a guest speaker, Shinkyu, who will be giving this morning's talk. Before I hand it over to them, I would like to thank our incense lighters, our greeters, and our tech team for helping this morning. So, without further ado, thank you, and welcome, Shinkyu.
So, this talk is entitled "The World is Nothing But Teachers." So, I don't know how many of you actually know me. Might have been water. Let's do this. How about now? Still? All right, I'll yell then. So, I don't know how many of you actually know me, but I've been around here a little bit every now and then. I'm Shinkyu, as was said, and I'm a student of Shuji's. Some of you probably know her, some of you might not, but we're both Soto Zen practitioners. And although that means that the way we all practice has a lot of similarities, there are aspects of our separate lineage that are separate schools of Buddhism, so to speak. They're a little different. So I'm here to give a bit of an idea about how the Soto school views Zen practice. And as with every talk, there's always the dilemma of how to talk about Zen. In this case, I thought, what would Zen Master Dogen do, the founder of the Soto school? And for him, most often the answer would be to talk about a koan. So let's talk about a koan. But first, what is a koan? You've probably heard of them, even if you're not aware of it. What's the sound of one hand clapping? It's probably the most famous one. But there's also, does even a dog have the Buddha nature? These koans are typically stories of Zen students and Zen teachers acting very oddly together, sometimes paradoxically. But I'd like to show you that, at least in this one case, that there isn't a paradox there, but instead a call to live life to its fullest. The koan we're going to talk about is called Guoshi's Three Calls. You'll sometimes also see it called the National Teacher's Three Calls. It's case 17 from the Gateless Barrier, or the Mumon Kan, which is a collection of koans that was put together in 1228 CE, so it's quite old. And I feel that, in particular, this koan really captures the essence of what it is we're trying to do in Soto Zen. So first, the koan as written is a bit of an abbreviation of a fuller account, although even the fuller account is a bit abbreviated. So I've added some extra elements in to flesh it out a little bit. So I'll read it, and then we'll go over it more carefully. So it goes, one day, Guo Shi and his attendant, Dan Yuan, One day, Guo Shi called to his attendant, Dan Yuan. In response to the call, the attendant came running and answered, yes, master. Never mind. And Dan Yuan went back to what he'd been doing. A little while later, the master called again, Dan Yuan. John Yuan came running. Yes, master. Oh, never mind. And Don Yuan went back to what he was doing. And then the third time, the master called Don Yuan. And Don Yuan, yes, master. I was about to say that I was ungrateful to you. However, it turns out that you are ungrateful to me. That's it. Pretty straightforward? No? Okay. The first time I heard this koan, I thought to myself, what the heck is even happening here? I couldn't make heads or tails of it. So one tricky thing with koans is that they're very removed from us historically and culturally. And really, they're not meant to stand on their own. Once you've read a koan, you want to go out and discover the backstory, find out who the protagonists are, what their relationships were, just a lot of background before what the koan is trying to say will become clear to you. So, to fill in some of that background, this koan takes place in China around 700 CE. Guoxi is the student of one of the most famous and important Zen masters of all time, the sixth Chinese patriarch, Huineng. It's the same Huineng of the Platform Sutra, which is one of Zen's foundational texts. Besides Zen's original founder, Bodhidharma, who came from the West to save all sentient beings, Huineng is considered Zen's second founder. He's the person who first equated meditation with wisdom, or prajna. The person who Guoxi is talking to is Dan Yuan. Dan Yuan is Guoxi's attendant. Now, that's a very important position for a young monk. It meant that you were at the Zen master's side throughout the day. You were also at his beck and call, as you see from the from the koan, but also meant you got to see the day-to-day practice of Zen as expressed through the master's life, as he lived it from moment to moment. And that's not an opportunity to waste. And as we'll see, Dan Yuan did not waste his chance. But back to the koan. As I've found, the key, so to speak, to unlocking a koan is not trying to figure it out. They're designed to break your brain because they're pointing to a mode of being or an activity of life that isn't dependent on words or concepts. These old Chinese practitioners were very dedicated to not conceptualizing. They were trying to point directly to all of this, just to get back to right here and right now. So after having just said that these practitioners were trying to get beyond words and concepts, I'll give you a phrase that sums up what it is that Dan Yuan was doing. And that phrase is beginner's mind. It has a long history in Zen, but you might be familiar with it from the book Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. I don't know if anyone's heard of it or not. It's a compilation of Dharma talks from Shunryu Suzuki, a Japanese Soto Zen monk and teacher who founded the San Francisco Zen Center and just generally helped spread Zen in the West. One of his ideas, the one that he really stressed, was beginner's mind. So what does that mean, beginner's mind? It's a way to talk about that state of mind where you don't have enough information about a topic to really have any opinions about it at all, where there's really nothing but wonder and curiosity. Like before you learn to drive, when you're sitting in driver's ed class, just imagining what it would be like to be behind the wheel. Or before you met your partner's family, where you're just saying to yourself, who are these people that made this person I love? Who could they possibly be? Shunryu is pointing towards a more open, honest interaction with the world, a type of interaction without preconceived notions. It's a type of mind where instead of saying, oh yeah, I know exactly what type of person you are, it's, I have no idea what type of person you are, but I really want to know. Now, you might stop me here and be like, am I really supposed to let someone treat me like Guo Xi treated Dan Yuan? It can certainly look like Dan Yuan or Guo Xi is bullying Dan Yuan, but it's good to remember that these types of relationships, student-teacher relationships, student-student relationships, what have you, should be built on mutual trust and respect. And as crazy as some of these Koan stories can get, and with their slaps and their kicks and any other questionable practices, the truest realization of Buddhist training occurs when all parties involved have earned and are displaying trust. The vows we take are to be of benefit to all beings, and that should be remembered, especially in situations like this koan. So all that being said, we'll get back to our koan again and take another closer look. We have Guo Xi, the master, who's calling his attendant, Dan Yuan, 3 times. Each of these times, Dan Yuan replies pleasantly, undisturbed by Guo Xi's odd behavior. Similar to most koans, there's a give and take, an interplay between the participants. Here, we need to take a look at what Dan Yuan is doing, and that is beginner's mind. And not just any beginner's mind, but radical, dedicated beginner's mind. He's stripped his mind of any preconceived notions and is just meeting Guo Xi's requests as Guo Xi's requests at absolutely face value. If it had been me, by the 3rd time, I'd been like, why are you messing with me? Because I'd be bringing all my baggage with me. I'd be thinking he must have some type of ulterior motive. Is he crazy? Am I crazy? Why would I even hang around with a guy that's treating me this way? These types of questions and reactions that you'll have will be born from your own particular life experiences. If you had a rough relationship with your mother or father, say, then those types of thoughts and emotions would appear during these types of confrontations. Types of conversations where you're facing your own personal Guo Xi. Instead of facing Guo Xi as Guo Xi, you find yourself facing the memory of a scolding or distant parent. Or if you have a boss who's particularly nasty, you might find your boss's face covering up Guo Xi's like a mask. And then all the related emotions and ideas and behaviors will spring right up out of that. Beginner's mind, however, is simply seeing Guo Xi as Guo Xi, seeing your mother and father as your mother and father, seeing yourself as yourself. We often find ourselves spending our days arguing with ghosts of people who aren't even there, who we carry around inside of ourselves, who we fight against, or who we long for, who we simply lament. Dan Yuan says, this master, he's left all of his preconceptions behind and is looking at each of Guo Xi's requests simply as requests. He's not thinking about the other requests that have come before or the possible requests that are coming down the line. He's just facing what's right in front of him as what's right in front of him. That's it. So with that, let's take a look at Guo Xi's final lines again. They read, then the master remarked, I was about to say that I was ungrateful to you, but the fact is that you are ungrateful to me. And there are a couple of translations of this line I found. Another one that was interesting is, I thought that I had transgressed against you, but you too had transgressed against me. So, why would Guo Xi think that he was being ungrateful to Dan Yuan or that he transgressed against him? I think this is acknowledging a natural response that we have to beginner's minds, that sometimes we do need our preconceived notions to keep us safe or to keep our relationships healthy. We don't want to blot them out entirely from our minds, but we simply want to understand why they are like they are. Guoxi is telling Dan Yuan that all those times that he called him, Guoxi himself had been practicing the beginner's mind, but they had an ulterior motive. He'd been testing the strength of Dan Yuan's beginner's mind. And so the reciprocity of their relationship in that moment had been broken. The same is true of Dan Yuan. In the opposite perspective, Guoxi called Dan Yuan 3 times in order to test him. He is ungrateful, and he has transgressed against Guoxi in the sense that Dan Yuan's proven that he doesn't need his teacher anymore, because he's perfectly embodied the teachings. So in a true Zen fashion, has been transgressed against is a positive statement here. It's good to remember that these Zen teachings aren't grand statements about the fundamental nature of reality, although you'll probably hear people talk about them that way, and Buddhists have been arguing about that for thousands of years. But the teachings are just a raft that we use to cross the river. Once we've crossed over, it's time to put the raft down. It may feel like we're being ungrateful to the raft, just leaving it there after it's been so essential for us. But I mean, I'm sorry, raft, but I'm not going to keep dragging you around with me now that I'm up on dry land. That's ridiculous. So, all this talk about beginner's mind is good, but how exactly are we supposed to cultivate it? How do we make it happen in our own lives? That's a good question to ask, because it's right. Starts with the original question we had about how can we talk about Zen. As Zen practitioners, we're the Buddhists who meditate. Now, almost all Buddhists meditate, but Zen people and Soto Zen people really meditate a lot. We can get carried away with it a bit. And our method is very simple. We call it Zazen, which just means sitting meditation. And specifically, we call it Shikan Taza, which means just sitting. And that's our method. We find a comfortable seat, or if we can't sit, we lie down. We face a blank wall and sit. That's it. This is how we, as Zen practitioners, develop beginner's mind. We face the wall and we simply sit. Just like how Dan Yuan answered those 3 calls with no preconceptions. This is the same process that Zen Master Dogen wrote about in his Fukan Zazengi, the universal recommendations for seated meditation. He writes, put aside the intellectual practice of investigating words and chasing phrases, and learn to take the backward step that turns the light and shines it inward. Body and mind of themselves will drop away, and your original face will manifest. If you want to realize such, get to work on such right now. So here Dogen is telling us to turn our light inward, and our simple sitting, the light of our mind will shine inward and outward to illuminate the entire world of suchness. And what is the world of suchness? It's this very moment, right here and right now, as it is. This moment as this moment. It's Dan Yuan's facing those 3 calls without preconceptions. It's us bringing the mind that we find in meditation up off of the cushion and out into the world, living peacefully and with acceptance. So when the Guoxis of the world, and we can find our Guoxis everywhere, the person who just cut us off in traffic, the guy who just said something rude to us in line, the voices of relatives long gone that still haunt us. When our teachers call out to us over and over again, are we going to see the uniqueness, the unrepeatability, the suchness of those calls, of those situations of our lives? Through the power of beginner's mind, I know that we will. Thank you. If there's any questions. It all made sense, hopefully. Really, the core of the Soto Zen teaching is just to be in this very moment. thoughts that are just running through the mind at all times, but we can find that still point. Just it's always right there at all times. You carry it around with you everywhere you go. Yeah.
Instead of words, even when I meditate, of course, you just whatever voices come wherever.
Yeah.
I also know that sometimes I see visions. I see myself, well, this is going to happen. And I don't believe it. It's just visions turn into visions.
Yep.
So even those are still words.
Exactly. There's all sorts of things that are going on.
The brain is extremely tricky because it wants to say a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to. So then it's like, you like this. Oh, yeah. But it's that's interesting. And what you said about meditation, or one of my favorite was this. I thought you just do something. It's let's try this. I said, just close your eyes and tell you what to do next. Just wait. So I guess it's point of saying. So I know he's wait until it keeps it right there.
Excellent. Yes.
It's just a game. I enjoy meditation.
Yeah, we call something like that like a nupaya, skillful means, like something that would do, like almost like a trick that you can get to get your mind right there. Yes. Any other questions? Koans are pretty loud. So. Question? Yeah, my story is very odd compared to most people's, but I basically began studying Zazen because I started I started meditating a very long time ago, but it was even before the Zen school. But when I got into Zen, there were no Zen teachers around to learn from, so I looked at the different schools. The mainly one was Soto, which does the Zazen, and then there's Rinzai, which focuses mainly on Koans. But you really need a teacher in order to study their Koans the way that they do. So I just said, I can sit and look at a wall. You don't need a teacher to do that. I mean, it's nice if you get lost, you can get lost into the Zazen. Sometimes the crazy old emotions will rise up and then you'll have to fight them. So like, metaphorically, but sometimes even maybe literally. But yeah, it's such a simple method that it almost seems like there's nothing even there, but just wiping away all the distractions and just having that wall in front of you and just yourself here, it boils your life down to just that very moment right there. And a lot of the practice too, even nowadays, is dealing with how your body and mind don't really want to be undistracted. It's a lot of the practice of Soto Zen is learning how to be comfortable with just being alive in that quiet moment. It's pretty profound sometimes. And then the nice thing is when you can bring that stillness that you discovered there up with you, just out into the world wherever you're at. When I'm at work, I work with machines, and I walk around and I just wait to see if they're going to break down. And when they break, I got to go and fix them. But I just walking the whole time, and then when something breaks, something breaking is something breaking. You don't not to look at it as some type of like an offense towards you or something like, oh, what did that robot break? What did I do? Have that happen? Like, I didn't do anything to have it happen, and I'm just here now, fixing the robot. And when it's fixed, I continue to monitor it, and then at the end of the workday, I just walk out of the building. There's no type of stress. I used to, like a long time ago, like before I really got deep into the practice, I know I would look at that time clock. Even before I would get into the building, I'd start thinking about that clock. Wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I've got 10 hours before I'll be back home. And that's such a crazy way to live, although it seemed like normal to me. But through the Zazen, you kind of feel, or you discover why your body is acting that way and why your mind is acting that way. Like you discover the body and the mind are both intimately tied together. And you'll get that anxiety at the beginning of the day, and then that anxiety will start spinning thoughts in your mind. And then those two are spinning each other, but quiet. And we wake up in the morning, get ready, as getting ready, driving the work, as driving the work, clocking in, as clocking in, doing the work, and not looking at the clock. It's fine. But when you look at the clock, look at as the clock. Okay, it's 3 p.m. What does that mean? Does that mean that I've got an hour before I eat? I've got another hour before I have to leave? It just means 3 o'clock. Don't have to keep adding interpretations and all sorts of stories on top of it. It's just, you're here. Suchness. Here. That's kind of the gist of the Toto. And you can see that many thoughts are spitting in my head. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Koan, because the first time you read it, you think you're mistaken that he was called 3 times.
Yep.
But I think with that beginner's mind, he's only called 4 times.
Yep.
I think that's a lesson I take into my own work too.
Yeah.
I work with the special needs population. A lot of the people I work with express themselves through aggression sometimes. And I need to make sure that every moment that I'm with somebody is just that moment, because they'll say that I'm hit. It hurts a lot harder if I believe every other hit they've ever brought to that hit with it.
Exactly.
It's just that one, it's not so bad.
Yep.
Being able to be with everybody, and once that's gone, the fact that I don't bring that with them. I see that, I let that start again. Everyone needs to refresh.
Yep. I like that. It's not some, you won't see it just as that one hit. There's an entire story that extends off of it, as if there's this entire complex of anger that is just blooming off of it. And like, no, it's just, that's what it is right there. Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to comment about the beginner's mind. Almost sounds like you're going to advance to something else. But what I'm thinking is that beginner's mind is something that always stays with you. That is the whole point. So it's not like, what's the next thing after the beginner's mind? Beginner's mind is with us always.
It's almost like our natural state, like we're saying, how you'll just take something and start building a story on top of it. You can take beginner's mind and build a story off of it, but the whole purpose of it is to, I mean, when you do the Zen thing, maybe you do build a whole story off of it. Look at those complex of stories that you're building as the complex of stories. See what it is you're doing. That's also a beginner's mind. That's strangely, despite the nested nature of your own experience of, I don't say reality, but your life, that's a possibility too. But you're saying, yes, it's just that simple practice. Unadorned, I guess. Yeah, unadorned, just right here.
Working with machines like you do, it's very difficult for me sometimes to avoid assigning them personalities. Some are happy, some are sad, some are hypochondriac, some are stubborn. Oh, it's Ralph again. Yeah.
Yes. Do you work with machines too?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was an engineer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It is strange, yeah. For us, it's not so much particularly like one machine, but it's like there's multiple lines of machines, and then this line is a very stubborn child, and this line is a very temperamental child, and this one's very sleepy and doesn't get much activity. But yeah, those are those stories you the shallow. Just, as I said, just look at them as the stories you're telling yourself about the world, and understand that it's just a story that you're telling yourself. It can be very useful as a way to navigate things, because we always relate to people for the most part, but just understand what it is that you're doing. It's basically the beginner's mind thing, social practice in general.
Another thing is how I kind of look at it too, is like the beginner's mind. It's like looking through the eyes of a child that doesn't know anything. It's going like, it doesn't even know what it's looking at. It's just like, It doesn't know yet until it's conditioned to tell it that is a tree. But what it really is
It's like everything, basically.
not even
Yep. Exactly. That's the suchness. Boom. Right there. Exactly. Anybody else? Comments or thoroughly confused? Hopefully not. A little bit. They're meant to be confusing, but they're also meant to be maybe a way to channel your confusion. Your confusion as your confusion. Don't try to get out of the confusion. That's something a lot of times with Soto or Zen in general. If you're confused, just be confused. It's fine. Why are you trying? What do you have? In order to get out of your confusion, you have to have an idea of what it would be to be outside of your confusion, a goal that you're pointing towards. But how would you even know what that goal was if you're confused right now? Just be confused. It's fine. Everybody's confused about something. Let's do it. Are we last chance? Okay, I'll say. I'm not sure how we end, but thank you very much for allowing me to talk. Yeah. Okay, good.
Right, so we are moving into our announcements portion. Is there someone? Yes.
Good morning. My name's Ellen. It's my turn to talk about Dharma today, which means generosity in our practice. And generosity comes in many forms. We really need it to run a temple. How we operate on a daily basis, weekly basis, with all the programs that go on here, takes money to run the lights and the air and so on. First, I'll address money. We do have Dana boxes right here in the temple at the rear and at the front door. If you're so inclined to drop money into it, that's swell. You can also go to our website, zengr.org, find the donate button. You can make a one-time donation. You can set it up also to donate on a monthly basis if that works for you. If you do shopping online, go to Smile, Amazon Smile. You can designate the temple, Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple, to receive a small portion of everything you buy on Amazon at no extra cost to you. If you're watching on YouTube today, there's a drop-down arrow at the lower right-hand corner of your screen that will also take you to a link to make a donation. The other type of donation you can always do is give some of your time. Help set up in the temple, wash some dishes downstairs, help out whatever way you possibly can. Also, the last one is materials, paper products. We always need toilet paper here, paper napkins, paper towels, all kinds of stuff. So there are many ways to practice Dana, and we would appreciate every single one. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a couple. Oh, we got another one.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm making this announcement for Gail, who couldn't be here today. The Happy Cat Cafe, which is our neighbor right next door, has invited us to the Growing Roots Market, a for nonprofits. It's going to be September 17th. It's a Saturday from 10 to 3. It's a way for our temple to earn some money. We would be able to sell some of the things that we have downstairs in our little store boutique. She will need help with that. So if you're interested, I have a phone number. Just see me afterwards and I can give it to you. She's looking for people to help set up and stay for a while and sell, and then some people to clean up afterwards and put things away. So I've got a number for that. The second announcement is tomorrow is the first Monday of the month, which means the temple is going to be cleaned well. And Barb over there, raise your hand, Barb. Don't be shy. We'll be doing the Dharma floor. And I would appreciate your help in clearing the floor so that she doesn't have to do all that work. The mats and cushions go behind those curtains. There's the closet there. You put those in there. The black chairs go back there also, and the gray chairs go down the stairs. And where do the benches go? In that closet? Okay. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements before I continue? Okay, all right. So we do have a couple of announcements. I'm going to start with one that is particularly important to our temple that Hung Su requested that we share. After 3 days in the hospital, Hung Su is recovering at home from a mild stroke. His heart, as always, is in the Sangha and our temple, and we ask that you keep him in your thoughts as he continues his recovery. I'm not sure how much further questions we can answer about that, because that is the amount of information that we've been given, but we'll do our best to see what we can do to answer any questions you might have. Please keep him in your thoughts. at zengr.org. So if you'd like to reach out to him there, please do. Other announcements, we have the Radical Dharma Book Club. It's the first Wednesday of the month. Meditation begins at 7:30 p.m. and discussion begins at 7:45 p.m. and that is via Zoom. Lojong will take place here at the temple and on Zoom at the next full moon, which is Saturday, September 10th, and I believe that begins around 6:30. But all of this information is always found in our newsletter. We have an introduction to meditation class, which takes place on Saturday, September 17th from 9 to 12 p.m. Registration can take place on the website. That way we get your email information and we can send you anything that's you need to know to come in, what to wear, what to expect, those kinds of things. Registration does close September 10th. We have our weekly Buddhist-based recovery meetings on Monday at the temple, Wednesday at the Alano Club, and Friday at Garfield Park. I believe that's still the case. And then our Grand Rapids Board, or our Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple Board of Directors meeting is the fourth Sunday of every month. I think I covered everything. So, to close up, I do want to say one last thank you, just everyone for being here on Labor Day weekend. Thank you to Shinkyu for that wonderful, for sharing the Dharma, wonderful talk. Thank you to our tech team and everybody else who has helped out this morning to set up and make sure that everything is put together, because I know I need all the help I can get this as I get closer to my due date. So let's go ahead and stand and recite our closing gathas.
And together we say, for all unskillful action ever committed on me since of old, on account of my beginnings, greed, anger, and ignorance, whether in my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a form's shield of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless black passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma is without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And we'll just have to do, take this half through, and we bow. Last reminder is it is noble silence we're doing upstairs. There's tea downstairs. Thank you for preparing that tea. And collection of books, and it was really hard to find.